Welcome to another edition
Hey,
of the Willy Bragg Show. We had Jamarr Jabari back with us. How are you doing today?
very. How are you, Willie?
All right, it's always great to see you back. Always, always love your posts and the videos that those little video clips that you do. That's like I guess it's like kind of like a TikTok short
Yeah,
or something. Um, Agree with every bit of it. I love what you have to say. Every few days when you put one of those out online.
thank you. I mean, a lot of heat on TikTok, so good that somebody's agreeing with what I'm saying.
Oh no, no, no. I mean, I love what you have to say. I love the fire, what you have to say. I love the content that you put out there and everything. So, I do what I can to promote it every time I see you up there. If I happen to see you put up one, I make sure everybody get exposed. So, everybody, please go ahead and follow Jamarr Jabari. I got all his links to his platform listed below. I think pretty much every one of his platforms. So um, definitely follow him on all appropriate platforms. Please do so. I want to give a quick shout out to Miguel H. How are you doing today? I always see Miguel
Oh,
every day on Harlan's Media chat line. And I see Daniel Berry Sports and Highlight. Excuse me, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Sorry about that. I just woke up.
well,
Hey, what's up? How are you? So I guess I guess I guess introduce yourself once again to anybody who may not be familiar with you.
hey everyone, my name is Jamarr Jabari. I am just a regular West man that does a lot of activism and does of content policy and working solidarity. And I am a self identifying socialist to people before me taught me so the walk of understanding working classes, and I am so you to do it to contribute to fight this fight against capitalism that always been so detrimental to our people, and it's time for people to get the power. And I talk about music as well. You'll see a lot of music news as a musician. I know a lot of musicians come on and talking about the craft they do and also the culture, the culture, especially American culture, black culture, just getting to while we're here and so definitely check me out, Jamarr podcast, TikTok.
Oh, okay. It looks like we have a little bit of a connection issue right there.
All
Um,
right,
uh, hopefully, hopefully can you repeat that? We had a little bit of a connection issue.
no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jamari podcast. As you can see right here, right me. See it on all platforms. Music, pop, culture. Which my thing. I'm gonna switch it real quick. Let's see how this works.
Hopefully, we'll get this taken care of.
How's that? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you just a second. I can hear
Yep.
you. Okay, try it now.
All right. Can you hear me now? What's up, guys?
Oh, I can hear you clearly now. Yes, I can. I'll let you know if there's any problem, but I can hear you clearly now.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So, my name is Jamar Jabari, and I am just a working class man that works like 40 hours a freaking week, and I do a lot of activism and talking about working class issues in foreign policy, and always a critic against capitalism. And I also post about arts, especially music. As a musician, I know a lot of musicians, so I love to have them on the platform and talk about their arts and also talk about culture. So Jabari Vok podcast, which you'll see right here, right behind you, on all platforms. I have a TikTok as well too. You can see short videos of talking about different type of issues. So definitely check it out.
Definitely check out Jamarr Jabari's short videos. I mean, they're great, very informative. Let me give two other shout outs, and that's to I thought I was Nate Guard. Yeah, hello, Nate Guard has had me to follow you. Okay, that's Not Telling on Rumble, and we have Warren, of course, here on YouTube. How are you doing, Warren? Great seeing everybody. Yep. So let's see. We're going to talk about Maui, the Maui fires. We're going to talk about that.
Oh, real quick, really. Before we get to that, I have something that I want to say real quick about something I learned about today.
I'm all ears.
I'm at a cross between. We're real quick about electoral politics. So Cornel West is running, who is a socialist, but he calls himself a Christian socialist, right? And now the party that I support and did a lot of work for, the PSL, has just released their candidate with Claudia de la Cruz, who's running for president. And she's from the People Center. I don't know if people know about the People Center, but definitely look up. They do a lot of great work for working class people. So now I'm at a cross between who am I going to support, because Claudia de la Cruz is freaking phenomenal. If people don't know who she is, look her up. She is one of the greatest socialists of this era, people. So I have to plug that in. We got options here, baby. We got left-leaning options here that is far left than the Democrats will ever try to platform. Like this, it's absolutely amazing to see a Cornel West campaign and now a Claudia Del Cruz campaign. Very excited about that.
And I'm glad. The more options we need, the better. Because I'm gonna tell you, I've been largely independent the last 30 years. I was always willing to vote for the occasional or support the occasional progressive Democrat, an AOC type, a Paul Wellstone type, someone like that who claimed to be where we're for roughly the same values that we're all for. I was willing to be that pragmatic, but it's kind of like what Craig Parsons-Jardula and Fiorella Isabel says on the Combo Couch, that when you try to work inside the Democratic Party, you can't change the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party ends up changing you. And I was always feeling guilty. I never felt guilty about not voting for a corporate Democrat. I never felt guilty about always voting third party for president, because, as I said, in the last 30 years, since Bill Clinton was the last president I voted for. And I just think that every Democratic candidate that has gotten the nomination has been too conservative for me. So I never, ever felt like any Democrat that got the nomination, and Bernie Sanders would have been the closest thing. And I'm starting to think, is he just another one? Is he just another Democrat at this point? I kind of think his back is against the wall to some degree. I'm not, but as I said, I'm very very upset with Bernie these days. Right now, I'm in my Bernie anger out of being out of the Bernie cult.
Oh, I totally feel you.
Yeah.
But it's so good to see that there are people that are not giving up on the fight, and this is a need, because we have a constituency of over 47% of the country that are independent voters. That means that they do not support either Republican or Democrat because they don't trust them. So it is a perfect time to set the flames for a raging third party to finally take the reins and get into the Senate, get into the House, get into local, everything, because we need the country needs it. When it's 47% of undecided voters, that tells you that these two parties, which is actually one party to me, is definitely failing the trust of the people, and they want to pretend that they have the reins and the power But what only backs them is the bourgeoisies, which makes them a bourgeoisie party. They are bourgeoisie party. They are not working class party. And I'm gonna keep telling people that until the day I die. They support the rich. They don't support us.
No,
We're
no, they don't.
working class.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, I listen. I even tell conservatives because I understand there are Republicans, some Republicans who are a little more benign, that has libertarian leanings, fiscally conservative, socially progressive. I'll tell them you don't have to settle for the Republicans. You can vote for the Libertarians. I'll tell them that.
Mhm.
And I'll even tell, even though I can't stand the Constitutional Party, I'll tell them, well, you can vote for the Constitution Party for those kind of right wingers, and I'll tell Democrats, you don't have to settle for the Democratic candidate. You can always vote for a third party candidate. Usually, a green is available for the left these days, just as libertarians are available for conservative voters.
Right.
Yeah, there's a niche out there. In most state ballots, it's very easy. Go ahead, vote for that candidate. Forget the fact that that the opposite party in some ways may have some cringe issues, whatever perspective you have. If you think they're all dirty, just go ahead, vote independent. It's why not just go ahead and do that? That's what I tell people. If you hate the way things are done, vote third party. Oh,
Yeah.
I can't do it. I'm scared of the other side. The Republicans will be, I'm scared of the Democrats, and the Democrats will be like, I'm scared of Orange Man. So it's just back and forth, and well, they're both scary. They're both pro-war, and they're both against us.
Yeah, and look at Maui. Maui and East Palestine should show you exactly how their attitude are towards us. They if anything, if New Orleans hasn't shown you anything, if Puerto Rico, which should be a state by now, or they should be given independence by now, if they haven't showed you how the corporate Democrats and the Republicans feel about them, then I really just don't know what else can give you a good example. Honestly, I don't
Yeah,
know
like
what else.
Hurricane Maria. And it's
Mhm,
funny you mentioned that because I'm half Puerto Rican. My mom's Puerto Rican,
mhm.
and I got relatives. You live in Connecticut. I got relatives that live in New London and Groton area of Connecticut.
Nice.
And the thing about it is, it's been years since I've been through Groton and New London, but I have not been in New London and Groton in quite a while, since the early 1990s. But anyway, thing about it is that Trump could have easily forgiven the $80 billion debt that Puerto Rico had, helped build the infrastructure. It would have helped the United States, because if Puerto Rico's economy is rebuilt and proper aid is given to the people of Puerto Rico during that hurricane, it would have actually even benefit the mainland United States economy. So these people, they're not particularly all that intelligent when it comes to
Right.
how to solve these problems. And if we can put $24 billion like we did recently to the Ukraine,
Yep.
we can forgive debt in Puerto Rico. We can rebuild Maui.
Yes. Yes. And Maui. I'm. A few things that disgust me about how Maui is being treated. One thing important is that a lot of these people are their ancestors. They have been there forever. These are indigenous peoples that we're talking about, not just American citizens that have moved over there or only been there since Hawaii was seized as a state. And I say seized as a state, not becoming a state. Saying that Hawaii became a state is very incorrect. They were seized by the Marines, the U.S. Marines came into Hawaii. They took the Queen, and the Queen literally had to give up the power in order for hopes that one day that her people can be independent again. That's what happened to how Hawaii became a state. Hawaii did not get purchased. Hawaii did not vote to become a state. They were colonized into becoming a state. So I want people to understand that very clearly when people talk about, oh, the Native Americans gave up their land or something like that. No, in this case, Hawaii was not trying to be a part of the United States. And when you talk to the Native Hawaiians there, they tell you straight up that they see themselves as Hawaiians. They don't see themselves as Americans. They don't. They don't want you on their little island. They don't want you on any of their islands. They don't want no tourism. They are tired of it. And this is part of the reason why they have the issues that they have. I mean, look, they got a lawsuit coming out on the light company because the light company was very negligent. And they blaming the light company for the reason why the fire started. And they're saying that there was wood rot, all these kind of things. So my thing is that sounds like, all right, I see he says very fishy. I mean, we're going to get to that comment right there, but it is very fishy on the part that this happened, and you're seeing like slowly capitalists are trying to, like, privatize the land. You got freaking Oprah who puts out this freaking funding, and she puts no money into it. They always want the working class, these billionaires. Isn't it funny that when they say they want to do things for the community, for the people, they always expect us to pay for it? Like Oprah has a whole freaking pledge for $10 million. She could spend $10 million like it's nothing. But no, she wants me, you, every other person to donate to this fund, and she hasn't even donated to it. Like, that just sounds very, very wrong. But I'll tell you what she did donate to. She donated to security on her property to make sure nobody gets in there. No one. And people talk about Che or Chavez. When the natural disasters happened, when Chavez was president, Chavez allowed people to stay in his palace. Chavez allows people to come on to the property for shelter, stuff like that. These billionaires, they want to say they care about the people. They could give an acre or two to help these people out. Now, I'm just getting on the billionaires. The government, FEMA. I mean, you have anything to add, Willie? Before I have so much.
I do. When are you going to run for office?
Who, me?
Yeah. We need someone like you in office. I mean, but really, like, for example, when Hurricane Katrina happened. Hello. Oh, something happened here. Wait a minute. Add to the stage. Okay.
I'm still here. My camera. I apologize. That
Not a problem. Yeah. When the hurricane happened with Hurricane Katrina, Fidel Castro offered medical aid for the people of Louisiana, the people in New Orleans that were suffering under. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, you were getting there. Yeah, Fidel Castro offered the people of Louisiana here in the United States medical aid and to offer to the people who were suffering under the effects of Hurricane Katrina, because the United States was doing a pretty damn botched job of doing this. And while the United States goes around and quiver in fears about Cuba and go underneath their bed in fears or what have you, what does Cuba do when they go abroad? They send a team of medical doctors and nurses to do to treat people.
Right.
We bomb people when we do this sort of thing. Yep. I mean, that's basically it. So, good example about what you were saying about Chavez's a palace and everything. And the wealthy here, they're out of touch.
Yes, they are. And a lot of countries come in to help us whenever we have national disasters. And with China, they have a program with their military that helps prevent hurricanes, that help prevent the mortality rate on hurricanes and any kind of natural disaster. And the reason why China military is able to help out their citizens is because they're not dispatched all over the fucking globe. They're not in 900 bases around the world. They're in China mostly. They only have like 2 or 3. I think they said. I think Russia has 12 embassies. I think China has less than 12 embassies around the world. I have to re-look into my research on that, so don't quote me on that. But that is a big example. Our military is not well equipped to even help out. They say the National Guard has an awful track record with natural disasters here in the U.S. At FEMA, like I had people argue with me about how FEMA is there's a law that was already set. Well, why isn't Biden trying to improve that law? If he could tweet and talk about how we got to send Ukraine $24 billion before the Congress even convenes, he could tweet about how we should have FEMA laws even pushed better. Or do we even need a FEMA? Should we have something else? I don't know. How about we call the military home? How would we call all our resources home to help out natural disasters that happen here? Because this is going to keep happening, especially when climate change. You think it's bad in Florida right now? Imagine what happens in the next 10 years. It's September right now. It's September and it's so hot here. We're supposed to be getting fall weather right now. So the heat is going to keep coming, man. I'm in Connecticut, so I want people to understand why I'm yelling about September. Everybody at my job is yelling about how it's too goddamn hot. It's never been this hot in September. We're living in New England. So these storms are going to get stronger, and we don't have the actual resources. They're talking about 8 months of free rent for Hawaiians. What happens after the 8 months? You know they're not going to extend that. $700 one-time payments to restore what you got. $700 one-time payment for each family member. I used to work a job that the reason why I was employed was because FEMA negligence. We had to literally go into these people's homes, look at their roofs and all this stuff, mismanagement, everything. They did not help. They only helped a few people, and then they get a clap. Oh, you did a good job, while all these people are displaced. I have so many thoughts on this. I don't want to continue on going, so let me know.
No. Everything he says correct, and just again, $24 billion went to Ukraine to pay for pensions, to pay for a universal health care system, which, hey, I like that about the Ukraine, that they have universal health care. That's probably the one thing going for them,
Right.
But the thing about it is, so you got all that going on, but some of that money is indirectly going into neo-Nazis. But the people of Hawaii don't get aid, but fucking neo-Nazis, assault battalion assholes get aid from the United States. Something is definitely wrong right there. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark, I believe is the phrase.
And Ukraine didn't vote for you, Joe Biden, to be president. The people of Maui did. The people of South Palestine voted for you to be president.
It's funny you mentioned that, because Hawaii is a very, very, very blue state. And I don't think they're going to be voting Republican overall. The last time they voted for a Republican president was Ronald Reagan in '84. And I'm sure it was a very close vote. I am sure that Hawaii will become slightly more purple now because of what happened with the response of the Biden administration. And here's the thing, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm defending Trump, but the shit lives out there. If Trump handled this the way that Biden handled this, the media would be like, what the fuck is this orange orangutan doing? I better not say that because he tried suing Bill Maher for calling him that.
So. Oh my God, yes. Because remember when he was president when Puerto Rico had Maria, and they had videos of him throwing paper towels at the people and everything. They were very, very, very critical on him, and not to say that Biden didn't get any critiques, but the way that he was criticized and the way that the liberals defended him, they assumed automatically. I covered it on one of my TikTok videos. They said that Republicans are the only one critiquing him, and I'm like, excuse me, I'm not no damn Republican. And I damn sure know that Sabby Sabs is not a Republican. I damn sure know that Brianna Greyjoy is Brianna Greyjoy. You know what I'm talking about.
I
I'm
know.
pretty sure Brianna is not a Republican. I'm pretty sure Jimmy Dore is not a Republican. I'm pretty sure all these people, all these great minds on the progressive and socialist level in the United States that have been literally consistent on criticizing Joe Biden on Maui and also South Palestine. They're not East Palestine. They're not Republicans. This is everybody. These are Americans criticizing him, but they want to just say, "Oh, it's just conservatives saying this. It's just Republicans saying this." It's like they like to act like socialists and progressives don't exist, and it's only about liberal thought. This whole neoliberalism nonsense altogether. They think it's one. This thing is two parties and two perspectives, conservative and liberal. That's it. So that whole thing is just freaking nonsense. Like, I can't believe they're using that as a scapegoat. They say Republicans say this, Republicans say that. It's not just Republicans saying these things. It's not. And to be fair, Biden is not even a leftist. Biden is a conservative Democrat. He said he was a conservative Democrat. Obama said he was a conservative Democrat. Why do y'all think Biden is a leftist? Biden has never been a leftist his entire life. The dude called me a monkey back in the day when my parents were young, saying that why would I have my kids in the jungle and all this stuff? He called us monkeys, basically. This is the same mindset, isn't it? So how's that left? How is that left?
Well, here's the thing. It's funny you mentioned Sabby Sabs, Brianna Joy Gray, Jimmy Dore, and some of the online left podcasts. Because there are some people out there that they will tell you they're like crypto Republicans and trying to sheep herd people in there by exploiting progressive anger and energy, what have you. And you know, it's like that's not true. In the last several years. With the collapse of the Bernie movement, there's been a lot of finger pointing, you know, a lot of these shit libs and some of the gatekeepers of independent media. If you go and you want to go and espouse the real ideas that Bernie cares about, oh, well, you're just helping Republicans. You're really pro-Republican, you know, whether it's Sam Cedar or the Young Turks and people like that. Which is, you know, why, and recently Kyle Kulinski, I kind of washed my hands of Kyle Kulinski. He was like the last of the big ones that I was listening to.
Right.
Crystal corrupted him.
Yes, he did. Yes, she did.
Yeah.
You know, all in all, like Crystal Ball, I was a fan of hers in the beginning, but now I'm not. They know what they're doing. They know that they are still pushing the line. They're getting excited as being alternative. It's kind of like how TYT is. It's the alternative media. So, you know, they got an alternative perspective that still totes the line of supporting the imperialists and still totes the line of it supporting the U.S. oligarchs. But they do it in a different spin that makes you think, oh, it's not like CNN and it's not like Fox News. It's not like MSNBC, but it's still the same message they're just doing. Sagar is literally the most cringe person on the planet. Let me just say that right now. You know, like he just wants war with China. And he acting like he don't, but we know he does. He wants war with China, and he doesn't. He's critiquing Ukraine because he wants war with China, just like everybody else on the right wing. But the thing is about these type of platforms that we got to keep remembering is that if they are actually progressive and stuff like this, and they actually have a different alternative, why are they still supporting the same things that the mainstream media is saying? Like, I think if people get that part, then they'll lose that base. Because Kyle Kulinski definitely is getting comfortable with his wealth, I will say, and that is why he is switching to the other side. Because the Kyle Kulinski I knew about 10 years ago would not have been acting the way that he is right now. I think it's because he changed his hair blonde and he has Crystal Ball and she is corrupting him.
Yeah, well, even 3 years ago, Kyle did not vote for Joe Biden. He absolutely refused to support anybody for president when Bernie dropped out. And I would say between that forced to vote and between Anna Kasparian's meltdown when she attacked Aaron Matei and Jimmy Dore in the summer of 2021. I think somewhere along the way, Kyle was sort of kind of morph into what he's morphed into at this point. He doesn't talk about Julian Assange the way he used to. He doesn't talk about. He he was a supporter of Force the Vote. He was a supporter of the Medicare for All marches for a while. He was kind of still talking a good game in the early Biden, the first year of Biden's presidency. But little by little, he's kind of morphed into he's basically David Pakman who used occasional bad language, foul language.
Yeah. But this is why we have to replace these people. That's literally how I feel. It's like we need to get everybody that is not like them and replace them, prop them up, share everybody's stuff, because we have to drown them out, because they are just traitors, but they do it in a way that makes you think that they are alternative and trendy and have better perspectives and smarter, when really it's just the same shit. It's just the same shit. Just like just like this whole thing with the presidency here is how they think they have morals. And you mentioned Ukraine. The Washington Post just talked about how our government is critiquing them because they're doing. Ukraine is changing their strategy on fighting Russia, and they're actually doing tactics that are long range and all this stuff. And that might be an issue because that means Russia has to take more land since they're shooting long range, but they're doing ways to keep the casualties down. And literally our government is saying, oh, wow, you guys are not putting yourselves on the front line and dying. Like, excuse me, you're supposed to be putting yourself on the front lines and dying. That's why we're giving you funding. We don't care if you're preserving life. We want you to put everybody out there. Take everybody, kids, everybody out there and die on those front lines. And if you don't do that, they're going to cut them off soon. They're going to cut them off with the foreign aid.
Yeah, well, they got war with China to worry about soon, or rattle sabling in China. Okay, we have 1,000 bases around the world. China doesn't have anywhere around the presence that we have, and
close.
we get triggered over a balloon flying over the sky. It's a fucking balloon. And you hear people say, "Oh yeah, we should have just shot it down on sight." Yeah, it costs an international incident.
Right. And I'm looking. Before we got on here, I was looking to make sure that what the budget reflects here for the fiscal year of the United States. This is what we gave out this year: $60.4 billion. Includes 29.4 billion for USAID, aka CIA, fully and partly managed accounts, and we're giving all this goddamn money to Ukraine, and the top 10 countries that we give out money to, Israel, of course, Egypt, of course, we got Colombia here, of course, 800 million to a narco state, We was giving 800 million to a narco state. Nigeria, 793 million. Those people are still poor, by the way. Those people are still struggling. Don't even get me started with Afghanistan. What aid is Afghanistan even getting? What are their people really getting? They're starving, by the way. Yemen, there was a whole freaking genocide there, plus starving. Lebanon. We literally let Israel try to destroy Lebanon. And this funding goes towards war. It doesn't go towards the aid of the people. They are cash cows because they are a part of an agenda. Biden literally threatened to take aid away from Niger and Burkina Faso. The president Ibrahim of Burkina Faso said, okay, take your funding away. We've been poor. We've been poor for decades. Why y'all keep giving us money? Where's the money going to, huh? Where's the money actually going to? Like, they're dishing out all this money and saying that they are actually being moral and helping out people. But all I see is people dying more on a higher scale. The gap between the poor and the rich increases higher and higher. So we're wasting all this money overseas for what? Honestly, for actually what? To keep our hegemon, to keep people in power that we want to stay in power. The CIA gets to topple everything secretly. And then they come back and say, "Oh, we're giving people democracy. We're making them civil. We're actually helping them out. This is our interest. Keyword: our interest." It's just it's honestly atrocious, and I hope social media, like how in Africa right now we're seeing a lot of kids in social media telling their stories. I think that that will be the revolution that we need to get people to like fully understand here, that that our way of doing things is not actually working and only supporting the rich. Raytheon, all these contracts, Sikorsky's, they are the ones that are benefiting from all this.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, when it comes to the Ukraine, I guess you must have seen the video that went kind of viral of some neo-Nazis, and I guess it was down in Florida, said they were for Biden because Biden's providing aid to the Ukraine, basically to help the Nazi cause and everything.
Yes, I talked about that. Yep.
And you hear it from the shitlibs that apparently Russia's some white supremacist state. I compare Ukraine to Russia. Ukraine is very, very white. You compare that to Russia, which is more ethnically diverse throughout the entire country, throughout your whole Eurasian area of the country. Stretching from Western Europe, Eastern Europe, all the way to Alaska is very diverse. It's diverse ethnically, it's diverse linguistically, it's diverse religiously. I mean, it's not that far removed from being like the United States in that regard. However, to hear it from some of these folks, it's like Vladimir Putin is the next Hitler. Well, Richard Spencer supports the Ukraine cause, for example. So I mean,
why?
Yeah.
No, but you tapped on something very, very important there when it comes to diversity in Russia. A lot of people don't get how diverse Russia is. I totally agree with you. I mean, even when the USSR was established, there was 21 constitutions made. That was made for like over 21 unions that were part of the Soviet Union. It was called a union because it was a union of nations. It was a union of many different type of cultures. They wouldn't call it a union if it was just Russia. For Americans to fully understand how Russia really is. So I definitely agree with you on that. And you see it now from Kyrgyzstan all the way up that they are now going towards BRICS, and they are still supportive of Russia. So I agree with you. To call a Hitler type of person is Putin. Now Putin is a Republican on his policies and stuff like that, but to call him a Hitler is just very, 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 very far fetched. It's a wet dream that oligarchs here want you to believe that he wants to conquer Europe and all this nonsense. He has made no actual stride to try to conquer Europe at all. I mean, Ukraine keeps lying, saying that, oh, that last missile that hit Poland, that was Russia's. Nope, it was y'all. And then they're saying that a freaking missile hit Romania, and then you come out and say, no, that's not true. A missile did not hit Romania. Romania literally had to say that wasn't true because they want NATO to get involved. That's the reason why they're saying these things. They're saying these things because they want NATO to get involved in the war. They want a World War III. And that's because that's the only thing that I think that can liberate them out of the issues that they're dealing with, which, to be fair, I understand that Zelensky is probably freaking like hot-headed about how to end this. I mean, last year in April, there was a peace deal that was probably being made, but the UK, Boris Johnson, they destroyed that peace deal. And we're looking at a death toll of what, 400,000 in rising Ukrainians. The Ukrainians are dying. They're taking the full-on blunt force of being proxies towards our government. Our government is sacrificing them at this point.
Well, you take a look at the Russian Duma versus the parliament in Ukraine. Ukraine, they criminalized two opposition party, or a dozen opposition party. Two of them were left wing parties, the Socialist Party and the Communist Party in Ukraine. One self-explanatory, Communist Party, the other one a Social Democratic Party. Compare that to Russia. The largest opposition party to Putin in Russia are the Communist Party and the it's called Just Russia, which was previously Mikhail Gorbachev's refounded Social Democratic Party, but they're like the largest opposition party in the Duma to Putin, and Putin is more like a conservative, right-leaning figure in many ways. But you know what, Russia has universal health care. They never got rid of that.
Never got rid of it.
I have a friend that lives in Russia, Nikki, who's a Twitch streamer who's from North Carolina, but she lives in Russia. And she told me that if you get a job in Russia, everybody gets 28 days paid vacation time guaranteed in Russia. Compare that to the United States. And you know, Tara Reid had to go move to Russia. And we know that Fiorella Isabel moves to Russia. As I was telling Fiorella yesterday on Facebook, you know, in the comment section, I said, isn't it amazing that all the free speech advocates ends up moving to Russia? I mean, Ed Snowden, you know, what have you.
Yeah.
United States protected free speech. Yeah, right.
And you know, people get very confused on that part. They get confused on why. But that's always been the thing for decades. I mean, a lot of Black revolutionaries that I admire have actually spent time and been in Russia. I mean, look, you got the boxer Roy Jones Jr. He owns property in Russia, and they love him in Russia. Like the videos, it's like he's the freaking president when he pulls up. They're like, "Hey, we love you," and stuff like that. So the culture is definitely not what people think it is there. And we're not doing this to hype up Russia. We have our own critiques of how Russia is. You know, Absolutely. I wish Russia went back to the Soviet to socialist times. And I had people on my podcast that talked about how Russia was better in socialist times. I even had people that I interviewed that lived in Ukraine that are like pro-Azov. I literally had a weird pro-Azov guy, and he's like 20 something, and he was complaining about how Ukrainians wish that the USSR was back. So this idea of thinking that Russia was like this pure evil dictator, authoritarian place was very, very, very not true, bro. That McCarthyism is a problem. But I think what needs to happen moving forward, if people are wondering, so what is the solution while we're sitting here having this discussion? What is the solution? For me, I would say that we need to stop funding Ukraine, and we need to force Zelensky to a peace deal, a peace agreement that they had before. And that's the best way, honestly, because they already talked about peace. So let's continue to bring that peace deal back. Honestly, what about you, Willie?
The only legitimate criticism from my perspective of Russia would be the mistreatment of LGBTQ people in Russia. But
and that was a thing too in the USSR as well.
It was a thing in the USSR. It's worse in the Ukraine today, and it's an Eastern European thing. I don't justify it. I don't like it anywhere, whether it's done over there in Eastern Europe, or whether it's done in the Middle East, or if it's done in Nebraska. I don't care where it's done. It's a problem. Yeah. So I mean, it's just that's kind of, I don't care where it's done. It doesn't mean I want to invade another country because of it either. But that's a legitimate criticism right there. So anybody it says I'm a Putin apologist, which I get called all the time. I mean, you know, okay, well, I tell you where I have a problem with Putin. Yeah. And usually there's a lot of people, you know, I don't know. It's crazy.
And you know, when we talk about the aid, you know, and with Russia, I do have a problem also with how Uganda is like so in for it, because they're homophobic as hell too, and their laws are just are honestly worse towards LGBTQ people. And you know, they want to pivot towards Russia because of that, and they're mad at Biden because Biden's saying that, hey, you guys should not be out here treating LGBTQ people like this and putting them in prison for all these type of crimes like sodomy and everything like that. And they're like, oh, F you, we're going to Russia and stuff like that. And I know that there's a lot of people that are in Russia that are not homophobic, and Putin is definitely a huge homophobic um, person. That there's no question about it. There are so many speeches that I have listened to him just say the most odd things, the most weird things. So that's definitely an issue. And I wonder if the Communist Party has changed their perspective also on that, because there was a issue with homophobia also in the USSR, where they saw being gay was a bourgeois thing. That was one of the beliefs that they had. And look, socialists, we evolved. So now we're pro gay. Hey, we even have like talks about gay space communism and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So we evolved. So I wonder um if the Socialist Party, which is the 50% popularity of Russia, if they have changed their ideas towards LGBTQ people. I do wonder.
Well, I know historically Lenin didn't. It wasn't that they were like pro LGBTQ when the Bolshevik Revolution took place, but they decriminalized and said we didn't think it was a big deal. Do what you want to do. We don't care. It's basically the attitude of the Lenin government. Stalin kind of came in and said, no, this is degenerate, quote unquote. And I think they kind of eased up a little bit since Stalin. Now East Germany had a pretty progressive attitude. I found out.
Really?
Yeah. After World War II, eventually they actually did a better job on that issue than their Western counterpart, which I actually am surprised. I figured that West Germany would have been a little more ahead on that issue, but apparently that wasn't the case. East Germany was one of those countries that were like, yeah, we don't have a problem. And Cuba also recently, and it takes time for societies to realize certain things. But I'm going to tell you something humorous.
Yeah.
I want to make it clear. I want to make it clear. I can't stand Ted Cruz. I pretty much despise everything that Ted Cruz stands for. And he's not any big time proponent of LGBTQ rights. But he did say recently that executing. Oh, hold on a second. Let's see. Add to the stage. Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
No problem. He did say recently that executions and jailing of LGBTQ people is pretty extreme in Uganda, and the right wing went ballistic, and they accused Ted Cruz of being woke because he said that it's not like he's saying pay for transgender. Hold on a second here.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It wasn't like he was saying that the state of Uganda must pay for gender reassignment surgery and that they must celebrate Pride Month and legalize same-sex marriage. I mean, he's against all these things. He's horrible on these issues. But the thing about it is, he kind of thinks that maybe killing them is a little bit extreme. Maybe putting them in jail is a little bit extreme. And they're like, what's your problem? You woke or something? I'm like, God damn. Y'all think that Ted Cruz is woke?
Yeah. And you know, like with Uganda, because Miguel has a good question. What should we care about another country's internal values? My issue is that the reason why, especially, I can only speak from my culture and my people. So a lot of the reasons why we are so homophobic within the Black community is because of colonialism. They used butt breaking and all these other aspects to get us to hate certain things about ourselves. Like, there's LGBTQ people in all cultures, and they use that to make us hate each other. So when it comes to Africa, who when they were colonized, Africa before colonization, especially in Uganda and all over, they had trans kings, they had lesbian lesbian queens. There were a huge acceptance more of the LGBTQ lifestyle. After colonialism and Christianity came on in, it just, so that's why it's dear in my heart personally with how Africa feels towards queer people, especially I'm queer as well too. So I just wanted to answer the question why I'm so worried about it. I'm worried about it because I know where it comes from and how we have to decolonize to stop to stop that type of stigma because even here in this country there were a lot of great gay there was a lot of great gay black activists that did a lot of great work, and we only know like James Baldwin and stuff like that. But if we open up the history and see how black gay people fought against racism and homophobia, and we'll see just how much camaraderie they were towards the fight against decolonizing. Like, this is such a big topic. I could go on and stuff like that about that. So I definitely take it dear in heart about like homophobia in countries that are doing such great stuff. And I'm just like, I'm glad you're sticking it to the West, but bro, stick it to the West. Don't get me wrong. Stick it to the West. By all means, stick it to us. Stick it to us Westerns.
Well, when it comes to the culture, the black culture with the gays and everything. But I actually know people that knew Baird Rustin. I know several people that knew Baird Rustin when he was alive, and I'm proud of the fact that I knew several people. Some of them have passed away, but there's a few that are still alive that I knew when I was in the Socialist Party, and they knew him, and he is a man that's not talked about a lot in U.S. history, let alone in Black History Month. I mean, it's like A. Philip Randolph and Baird Rustin don't get the love that they need, and it just infuriates me. Yeah,
because Rustin was in it. He helped do so many routes. So he mobilized and organized so many people. He was a huge big deal and a pivotal person for the civil rights movement. MLK probably wouldn't accomplish the majority of the stuff he accomplished in the struggle if it wasn't for Rustin.
Exactly, and he doesn't get. And I think there's a Netflix special on the life of Baird Rustin coming up soon. I was just notified that recently, and I would love to watch it once it comes out. So, yeah.
And I would love, because I know that we're about to run out of time soon, I wanted to talk about BRICS funding as well too, since we already talked about the funding of the U.S. and what they really care about. Because the BRICS summit happened last month, I believe. Yep. And so BRICS, well, first of all, Forbes, was it Forbes? No, it was Goldman Sachs, the trash people. Forbes is also trash too. But Goldman Sachs, they got money in the pockets of all the politicians of today. So they came out with a study and they said that BRICS nations will be the leading world bank by 2050. Excuse me. Now, I think a lot of people don't know that part, and they're not taking BRICS seriously. But if they saw the Goldman Sachs study, they will be like, okay, this is bigger than we thought it was. And they really got to look that up. Maybe I'll send you the link on it. But I do like what they talk about in BRICS, because there was a lot of like talking shit about the West on legitimate issues, how poverty just keeps getting larger and larger in the world, and how Africa is going to get $10 billion. Rousseff, who is the former president of Brazil back in 2014, she's now part of the World Bank, the president, I believe, of is it the Shanghai Bank? Don't quote me on that, but they're going to establish $10 billion for infrastructure, in the African continent, building roads so you're able to drive through Africa, bullet trains, all these type of things. They're going to make it accessible to get around in the continent. And so when I see them talk about these things, and yes, we have to make sure that they're going to do these things, but what have China have given through their Belt and Road Initiative, which is the new Silk Road, there is seaports built. There's so much value of infrastructure that has already been put in. So that's why I believe in the BRICS worlds, that when they say the BRICS nations, when they say they're going to invest in Africa the right way, that they're actually doing it. Look at all the money that America gives, and they say that they help for aid, but they got military bases there. I didn't even know we had 2,000 troops in freaking Niger and all this. Why do we have U.S. troops in Africa? We haven't had any crazy ass wars in Africa for how long, dude? And now we hear about how we got troops there and we're bombing Somalia, and everybody's saying it's because of the terror situation. No, they're using that to exploit Africans. They are keeping a control on Africa. So that's why I'm definitely pro funding for BRICS until I see otherwise. What's up?
Yeah, and if it can actually if it can put a stop to U.S. using these horrible sanctions that they like to impose in countries they're not even in any way, shape, or form harming the U.S. I mean,
Right.
That'll be awesome if it could be a way to end the sanctions, let's say against Cuba, which that is a crime against humanity.
Right.
I mean, of all countries on the planet Earth to wage sanctions on, Cuba of all places. I mean, even if you were to go with the party line or the consensus in Washington that they are authoritarian, they're on the extreme light end of it.
Right.
I mean, if they're like, it's mild. If it is,
Right.
it's a very mild form of it. And the mild form of it exists because of the U.S. bullying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I had Diddy on. Diddy is a comrade that lives in Miami, who is a socialist that does a lot of work with the Treka collective, and he says that the the whole right wing uh, anti-communist sentiment that even the Cuban people have in Florida is dying. It's not popular no more. It's dwindling, and the reason why it's dwindling is because a lot of Cubans are coming over that just visit. And then they come and see these rallies where they're like, this is going on in Cuba, this is going on in Cuba. And then they're like, wait a minute, no, I was just there last week. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, there's a lot of that happening where people are just like, bro, you don't know what you're talking about. That's not true. It's not true whatsoever.
They abolished the death penalty. They abolished the death penalty recently in Cuba, for example.
Right.
I mean, when Michael Moore was more based, he did. You probably remember seeing the movie Sicko, and I believe his perspective on Cuba. I don't think is the nightmare that people make it out to be, and anything that's unpleasant about Cuba is because of the United States.
That embargo, baby.
Yeah, that embargo and all of that. Again, and and everything I've seen Cuba have done foreign policy wise abroad has actually been pretty damn positive. I can't think of anything. Yeah. I can't think of anything they have done that was something that would be like, oh, America's national security. Nothing.
No. And they gave Cuba a platform in the BRICS summit as well too, which I didn't even know they were going to do that. I thought they were only going to have BRICS nation members talk, but they actually gave Cuba a platform to talk, which the UN, the World Bank here, Like they don't give Cuba a chance to talk. They go and find the most white passing Cuban that they can find, the most war hawkish Cuban that they can find. The please bomb my country liberal. I have to make. I'm dead serious about that joke. They find the most war hawkish, white passing liberals that come from these countries just to go on the CNN and all these mainstream media platforms to go, please bomb my country. Please starve us more. Please. They don't even know what Miguel Cornell looks like, Willie. They don't. They took a picture of him once, and that they said this was an old man that's protesting Cuba. That's the fucking president of Cuba that you took a picture of. You freaking idiot. Like, it's just so the stupidity, the anti-communist the rhetoric towards Cuba is just so ridiculous. I think people are losing their brain cells just believing in this rhetoric. It's problematic to our psyche.
I'll share you a funny story. When I went to England in 2006, first time I went to England, only time I've ever been to England, I went to a cigar shop in London, and they don't have sanctions against Cuba. But the UK does, they got better things to do than to impose sanctions against Cuba. So you can buy Cuban products, you can buy Cuban cigars. And so I bought a bunch of Cuban cigars. Apparently, I could bring them back to the States. Thank God. So, and I had a picture of myself. I was a smoker back then.
Nice.
I lit up a cigar, and I was like, and I put it up in MySpace. It's like, here I am smoking an actual Cuban cigar. I was like, fuck you, George Bush. Because George W. Bush imposed like a $7,500 fine for any Americans that actually went to Cuba. And when they get back, that they were going to be fined $7,500. One of the good things Obama did when he was president was to ease the restriction on Cuba with regard to the sanctions. They weren't completely removed, but there was some actual significant easing of sanctions that unfortunately Trump slapped back on, and I don't think Biden have taken the time to correct the problem that Trump imposed.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And so it's still no. Yeah. Biden definitely has a lot of policies, and that's one of them that is similar to Trump that he's keep going. And even Biden is like stopping the Americans from going to North Korea as well too, which I think is because of that soldier that defected into North Korea, and he said the reason why he defected was because of racism in the United States and racist culture in the United States. Biden is definitely so similar to Trump in so many ways that it's kind of like freaking scary that people differentiate him from like an actual like alternative.
This is what
I have to be careful saying like anything else because just like they think he's an actual alternative.
This is what I have to keep telling right wingers and shit libs alike when it comes to Biden. Biden kept one promise: there will be no fundamental changes.
He told his oligarchs that.
Yeah, so he was true to his word. I give him that. He was true to his word. There would be no fundamental changes. But to the right wing, they think that Che Guevara sits in the Oval Office.
They do.
Yep.
They do. It's hilarious.
Bosch, weirdly enough, thinks that Che Guevara sits in the Oval Office.
That guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy is such a kook, man.
Oh my God. So Bosch thinks Biden is Che Guevara and said that's a good thing. The right wing said Biden is Che Guevara. That's a horrible thing. They're both wrong. There's no Che Guevara anywhere close to the White House. At the closest would be Kamala Harris. Her father, Donald Harris, was an economic advisor to Prime Minister Michael Manley of Jamaica, a country that the U.S. also bullied in the 70s and the 1980s. And, unfortunately, Michael Manley wasn't able to pull through with what he wanted to do with Jamaica, which he basically wanted to turn Jamaica into Sweden. Or Great Britain under old labor. That's all he wanted to do. He wasn't even trying to turn it into Cuba or what have you. I mean, People's National Party is the Democratic Party.
Yeah. I mean, and there's an awesome socialist party down there in Washington D.C., the PSL that's there, and then there's also some international socialists, but none of them are in Washington. None of them. They are all just paying rent, but that's probably very expensive in D.C. just to keep an office up, and they are organizing in the streets, and the cops are telling them back the fuck off. Those are the people that should be in Washington, D.C. Those are the people that we should vote for. Those people put into office that are workers. One thing about Cuba that I love is how their politicians are all working class. They have to work a certain amount of hours before they go back to parliament. And I absolutely love that. Call that authoritarian if you freaking want to. I think that's great because it gives them a chance to actually talk to the working class and see what's going on in their lives. It gives them a connection. So when they're going up there, they have the working class in mind. These people in Washington, they don't work 40 hours a week like we do. They don't work part-time like we do. They don't know what it's like to suffer like we do. They get 6-figure salary just off the back, and then they start sleeping and with these oligarchs that gives them more freaking money. And freaking AIPAC, the Israel lobbyists are like, hey, you can't even get in Washington unless you let us donate to you. And if we donate to you, that means you got a cap for Israel. Capping for Israel. That's what Robert Kennedy Jr. is doing right now, capping hard for Israel. I don't know if you saw that interview.
Oh, he's done an overkill. Overkill. The thing about it is, I'm not with Robert Kennedy. I would have assumed that he was a supporter of Israel from the get-go because, he's part of the establishment. The establishment Democrats, establishment Republicans. It's just a thing. It's kind of like I don't know. It's just kind of like changing your shocks in Washington D.C. You're going to be pro-Israel if you're an elected, if you're in the House or in the Senate for the most part. And even those who are critical of Israel, they have to soften their rhetoric. It's like walking around eggshells because as soon as you criticize Israel for the littlest thing, they go and smear you as some vicious anti-Semite and what have you.
And I don't mean to get your video taken down on YouTube. I know you can say this on Rumble, but I don't.
Oh no! I have listen. I have videos that I have told Benjamin Netanyahu to fuck off in my videos before. So if those videos are still standing, I think I'm pretty safe right now. Good. I'm not that big. I haven't hit the big times yet.
Because they took me down, and I don't even get any type of views you get on YouTube. They took me down just for even mentioning Israel or RFK. Like, they took my video down. I was just like, dude, really?
I did get taken down for the dumbest reasons. 1 week, I was commenting on the 2000 election, but the algorithms determined that I was saying something about the 2020 elections because I'm not an election denialist in 2020. Mm-hmm. I don't like Biden. I don't like Trump. I say fuck them both. But in the year 2000 down in Florida, that was some phony crap that was going on with Kathleen Harris and Governor Jeb Bush and a Reagan Bush PAC Supreme Court that took place in 2000. Honestly, some people think I'm soft on Trump. I'm not. I just think that George W. Bush is a bigger piece of shit. He
killed 1 million Middle Eastern people.
I want to edit myself. He thrilled over 1 million people in Iraq. You know, just as the Ukraine has a thrill list. You know, that's my word that I use, so I don't get shut down. So
thrill list.
Yeah,
and they've been Xing people off that thrill list that apparently the U.S. wants to ignore. You know, as much as they try to say that Putin is out here killing journalists, I love how they turn their eye when, you know, the thrill list is just getting people X'd off. You know what I mean? And then Israel as well too. The IDF gets to thrill any journalists they want, especially American journalists. And Biden is over there sleeping.
And I tell people that Vladimir Putin thrilled less people than the Clintons.
Now that's going to get you in trouble.
Yeah. I've been using the word thrill because the guys from Due Dissidence use it occasionally. So I was like, that's a good idea. So I THRILL. I'm like, that works.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, like it's just the hypocrisy, the contradictions are just absolutely just atrocious at this point. And people can, like, that's why a lot of people don't trust the mainstream media nowadays now, and it's dying. You know, this is a great way to talk about it. You know, then CNN tried to drop a streaming app. Nobody fucking bought that. They like the person that had the most views on TV was Tucker Carlson, and as weird as he is, he was the only one that he outdid any CNN reporter by like 2 million views, which is absolutely insane. The trust is absolutely gone in mainstream media, and they are actually pivoting, looking for other ways. I see it now that they're like thinking like, oh, this is going to be in the cable real soon. Roland Martin talked about this as well too. There's going to be a end to cable news very, very soon because they're seeing that the streaming is superior. And you know, you hear them complain, oh, why people go and get their news off of YouTube instead of here? This makes no sense. We have credit. You should believe us. Well, you lied about the Iraq war. You lied about Afghanistan. And you're lying about Ukraine right now. And the same person that voted and was pro those wars is in the office right now. You're propping him up thinking that he knows what he's talking about when he was wrong about all the freaking wars that he voted for. He had his information wrong on every single one. So how is he right about Ukraine right now? Like just the blatant lie and distrust and disrespect that they just pivot towards, and then they want to become children when people question them. We question you because we know you're lying, my guy. We know you're lying. And that's why YouTube is big. YouTube is big because you're lying.
Yeah, people started watching YouTube news just get away from what was mainstream news that cable was providing, because it was just crap. It was just crap coming from Fox and CNN and MSNBC. So at the time, it was refreshing to watch the Young Turks, and one time it was refreshing to watch Majority Report, or to see TJ, the Amazing Atheist, do his little rants. It was that about a decade ago. That was where it was at. And we have so much more options. Even with them, we have so much options since those folks. So, but unfortunately, there's a whole lot of shadow banning going on as well, too.
Yeah, that's where YouTube is effing up.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the ways that we have to get around it is, with StreamYards or whatever, or OBS. Try to go on multiple platforms to spread the word out, and that's a way to do that, and go on other platforms like Rumble and Odyssey and Rockfin, and which I'm not on Rockfin or Odyssey yet, but I
don't even know what that is, but I'm gonna find out.
And Kick, that's another one. Kick is another one. Yeah. So I got an account with Kick. I don't even know. I may have to go and get another account because I don't even know the username and password I use, because it's kind of like Rumble. Once you get used to Rumble, I mean, that little process it takes, then then it works. But just it took forever for me to get over 100 followers on Rumble before I start. I wasn't going to even start to seriously stream on Rumble until I had 100 followers, and right now I'm at 125 on Rumble. So I had 132, but I think a bunch of semi-open-minded Trump supporters came in to watch what I had to do. They didn't like what I had to say, and a lot of them just unfollowed me. So, oh well.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there definitely is that right-leaning love that I see that goes on in Rumble. It's kind of interesting, you know. But there's also do dissidents is on Rumble, right?
Yeah, do dissidents is on Rumble. RBN's on Rumble. Sabby's on Rumble. Jimmy Dore's on Rumble. INN's on Rumble. I mean, just go across the board. Even Majority Report's on Rumble.
Yeah. So let's support that, people, instead of being like, the liberal nonsense. I hate it. Libs, I'm sorry that I always got to get on y'all, but y'all are crybabies at this point. Like, but seriously though, why? Like, let's support who we know that's on there, because their message is not going to change. Just like with Twitter, everybody's like, "Oh, it's all right-wingy." Yes, I see a lot of right-wingy nonsense going on there, but my algorithm is set where I see a lot more alternative perspectives, and especially a lot more left perspectives and a lot more progressive perspectives and all that stuff like that as well too, because that information is not going to change if they post it. So just support those people. Ignore everybody else. We're always complaining about what everybody else is saying.
I love my Twitter leftists. And it's not X, it's Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Sorry, Elon. We only know Twitter.
So I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's always going to be Twitter for me, and I love my Twitter leftists. I mean, it's not that it's an echo chamber, but I don't have to deal with if I don't have to deal with right wing voices trolling me, I don't have to deal with it.
Right.
Same thing with shit libs. If I don't have to deal with them, or NAFOs, I have to, if I see a NAFO on Twitter, I block them on sight. Any NAFO account, and that's why I tell people: you see the little Siberian dog figure that's on the that's their logo. That's a NAFO account. I tell people just block it on sight, and that way you don't have to deal with it, because they'll mass report you and try to shut your channel down, your profile down.
It's the SR.
What? NAFOs.
Is it? What was at the end of their
their logo tends to be a Siberian, like some Siberian. I forgot the name of the dog. It's like some Siberian dog. That's I forgot the name of the dog. The breed of dog that's in Siberia. That's their logo.
Okay, I'll make sure I keep a lookout on that just in case, because I let somebody troll me this week that I didn't even know that was trolling me, and I was very emotional about some family issues. So I was like, I'm gonna go in on this person.
all the best to your grandfather, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. My last grandparent, my grandmother died 5.5 years ago. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh yeah, that's all right. She was getting close to 100. So
that's great. Full life. Woo.
Yeah. So
I'm going to drink for that.
Exactly. And my mom, they're visiting right now. My parents are visiting, and she's had a series of mini strokes. So she's got to fly back here to North Carolina, because there's a doctor she goes to that's really good on treating her and giving her the right medications. But sometimes the medication does act a little peculiar, so she'll have to fly back here for that and everything. But she appears fine, but she sort of, just like, she has one thing in common with Mitch McConnell. She'll freeze up for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then she's like back to normal. Yeah.
That's scary. Yeah.
That's what's happening. That's basically what's happening to Mitch McConnell. He's having a mini stroke, and that's why he's been freezing up lately, and then all of a sudden he's like back to normal. Yeah,
That is scary, man.
yeah,
Scary. Well,
yeah.
I definitely got your mom in my prayers. Definitely.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah, absolutely. Do you have any final words?
Yeah, look, look, guys. This is the time to get serious. Unions are being made. Strikes are coming out. Union contracts are being made, and that is all off of the effort of the people. None of that is pro Democrat or pro Republican. That's pro worker. So when people ask how could we fight, we gotta fight to continue to build working class power. That is exactly how we fight, and that exactly shows results on improving the lifestyles of our people. So whenever someone asks you, "Oh, well, how can you make a change if you don't vote?" You can get involved in the streets and you can make a change. I've seen it for the past decade. I was a Democrat, a volunteer Democrat, 18 years old, and I did not change and lead the Democratic Party until I was about 23, 24, one of those. I'm 31 right now. So Bernie Sanders showed me that we don't need those motherfuckers, and I went on and I helped out a lot of great causes and a lot of great victories. And you can do the same too. You don't need the Democrats. That's all I gotta say. And fuck capitalism.
We don't. Yeah, we need to do this together. We don't need a two-party system.
Right.
And and capitalism and imperialism must be challenged. I'm basically the same person I've always been politically, but I've added a more anti-capitalist perspective to what I've been throughout my life, and I'm more. I mean, I've always been a pacifist, but I'm more significantly anti-imperialist than I've been. I'm not saying that I'm telling people to congratulate me. I'm just, but I'm seeing
growth is important.
I didn't see before, and
Right.
I'm understanding things now. So, as hard as it is to believe, I've actually gotten further left the older I gotten. It's usually people get a little more mellow as they get older, and I've actually gotten more radical. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Willie, that is freaking awesome because everybody's always talking about the opposite.
I mean, I've gone a long way from being the annoying Bernie bro on Facebook and Twitter in 2015. So, yeah. So let's see what we have here. We have a couple of people, and then we'll let you go. And
yeah.
All right. Okay, we'll start with Valiant Thor. The government proposed a land swap equivalent to the government in California, saying we're going to seize your property in Beverly Hills. Don't worry, we'll give you land in Barstow.
Oh my God.
And I'm not going to go through every comment, but I'm just going to kind of scroll down a little bit here. All right. See, Miguel says Puerto Rico has tried to become independent in the past, but the USA CIA has smashed those movements. Yeah, the independent.
Long live USCA.
The Independentistas, the Puerto Rican Independence Party, basically is a shell of its former self. Yeah, in the early 2000s, I actually hung out with some folks from the Puerto Rican Independence Party and everything, and they're just a shell of their former selves. Let's take a look here. Ed Hiller's here from Chicago Corner. Just seeing that Tara got her official asylum. Yeah, and I hope that she's going to be, in fact, I think she's going to be fine over there in Russia. I don't blame her.
Yeah.
Around the World with Dee and Friends, and I'm going to be on Around the World with Dee and Friends, 8 p.m. this coming.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna watch.
And she was, she was on my show last week. Let's see here. I agree, Jamarr, but the problem is weaponizing for its colonialism. We need to worry about our problems.
I agree with that too, Miguel. I do. I saw that, and I wanted to say I agree with that too. I do. We need to focus on our own issues before we worry about other people's shit. We do. I totally agree with that.
And Warren,
That's funny.
Warren said China is making the U.S. look like Lex Luthor. Yep,
Yes, they are.
very true. Very true.
Xi Jinping is literally a statesman at this point. He has home the status of statesman at this point. Which is
Yep. Okay. GC Heretics, Jesus Carnation Revolution Now said, what is your approximate 1020? Well, I'm in New Jersey. It's miserable here. The deer are roaming. Yeah, the asphalt is looking like ice cream, dude. That's funny. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go and do this real quick. Scroll through here. All right. See if there's anybody new that came along here. I'm not seeing. Oh, Comrade Kitty. Somebody said hi, Comrade Kitty. I know he's online, so I'm going to say hi to Comrade Kitty. And let's see. And I guess that's it right now. There's a new program that comes on 5 p.m. every Friday at 5 p.m. here Eastern Standard Time. It's called Braggland, co-hosted by myself and Jimi Sunderland. Will be on tomorrow at 5 p.m. And so, yep. And of course, I had that down in my description box below. So, and we did our first show last week. That was great. My computer was a little sluggish. That was the only problem. But I'm going to get, I'm getting a new computer and very soon. So my problems will be very limited in that regards in probably about 2 weeks. So there's that. And since Jimmy is my co-host, let me give a shout out to Warren's show, The Secret Show, that she co-hosts with every Sunday at midnight. So everybody be sure to go on Extra Bulla Live to watch The Secret Show every Sunday morning at midnight. It's always a good time up there. I've been on that show several times. And it makes my Saturday night, Sunday morning complete. So I enjoy the show. So if you're up around that time, have you checked them out yet?
Yes, I have. I checked them out, and I also I checked them out. I checked out Do Dissidents out as well too. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah. So Craig Pasajardil is going to be on Do Dissidents tomorrow morning, co-hosting at 10 a.m. So because Russell, I believe, is in Rome right now. So let's see. What else is going on? If there's anything going on, I can't think of it right now. So everybody, be sure to like, comment, and like and comment and share the contents on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it because we're the muckrakers of our time. And be sure to not just subscribe to all my programs on my platform, but also follow Jamarr Jabari's platforms. Follow him on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and all the other platforms he belongs to. It's in the description box below. And I think I kept you here longer than you might have wanted to be. So
no, you're fine. Here,
okay,
I'm gonna put my my link R right here into the comment section real quick. Well, my LinkTree, not link R. I don't know why I keep saying link R. Here, let me see. Right around. Okay. Let me get that home. There, here you go, guys. I'll put that right there to the comment section.
Okay. Whoops. Okay. I think hopefully he'll come back. Hopefully he'll come on back in a moment. But anyway, he's all right. You're back. Hey, what's up? So
yep. So there go my link tree right there in the comment section. And
yeah, let me go ahead and make sure that everybody sees that.
Yeah,
so everybody
YouTube
copy
is
and,
small, but everything else I have a bigger platform on. I get very, very demonetized on YouTube, so it's sad. But Spotify, I love Spotify. Spotify treats me right.
I made 48 cents so far being on Rumble.
Hey, we're getting somewhere. Let's go.
Yeah. Since last year, my lifetime on Rumble. So anyway, I will say I'm going to wish everybody a great evening, and I guess I'll talk to you really quick when I get off here, and everybody have a great night.
Yeah,
Take
have
care.
a good night. Thank you.